Wine POV. I sat with my favorite person, the love of my life, his arms wrapped around me as we sat near the seashore. His embrace was incredibly comforting, and we cherished every moment together. As I gazed at him, he gently cupped my face with one hand, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Jungkook looking at you and asked calmly, "What happened to my queen? What is bothering you?" Wine looking in his eyes. "How can you know me so well? I didn't even told you anything, but still you can read me. You can read my emotions." Jungkook smiled and pecked your cheeks. "It's because I love you and I know you so well, but now tell me what happened." Vine's expression turned serious. "Jungkook, you know right, it's our last year of college?" Jungkook, "Yeah, and?" Vine sighed. "And I guess we need to tell our parents about our relationship." Jungkook's expression turned serious and stressed. Jungkook, "Vine, if you want, then we can tell our parents. My parents will not have any objection because they don't really like to interfere in my life and I have been far from them so long." Vine nodding. "Yeah, but mine, what if my parents didn't agree to our marriage? What if they didn't accepted our relationship?" Your expression turned tense and serious when Jungkook held your hand tightly and reassured you. Jungkook, "Vine, we'll together convince them. And I'm always with you." You were still worried because you know your parents are so strict, but you love Jungkook so much even though he doesn't belong to a very wealthy family. He loves you so much and you don't want to leave him on any condition. Whereas you belongs to a very rich family and you are the only daughter of your parents and your parents are really protective and strict in your case. You know they will not agree to marry Jungkook as they want you to marry someone as rich as you are. But for you, love matters the most and you and Jungkook loves each other and you know that he will take care of you very well. Jungkook noticed your tensed face and he cupped your face. Jungkook, "Vine, do you trust me?" Vine nodding. "Yeah, of course I do, Cookie." Jungkook smiled. "Then relax. I know your parents will not agree to marry you with a middle class boy. So I will work hard and will become a businessman and then I'll ask your parents for our marriage. And for that, just give me at least 2 years. I promise I will work so hard and will achieve success so that your parents can agree." You looked at him and smiled and hugged him. "Why? I love you as you are, Jungkook. I don't care if you are rich or poor, but I always want to be with you. I don't want to lose you at any cost, so I'll always support you at everything you will do." Jungkook smiled. "I know you deserve better, Vine, but I can't see you to be with someone, so I will make myself better." You and Jungkook did your graduation and Jungkook went back to South Korea, whereas you were living in US with your parents. Jungkook and his elder sister Stella were living together in South Korea and Jungkook was working hard and giving his best to be a successful businessman, whereas you were also involved in your family business as you were the only daughter of your parents, so you have to take care of your family business. You both got so busy in your own lives, but still you used to talk 2 to 3 times a week. You both were in long distance relationship. Time skips after 2 years. Jungkook didn't call you from last week. You were worried when you even tried to contact him, but he didn't pick it up. You felt so worried and tensed. You both were talking so less from last 3 months. You were just talking once a week on call and now you were missing him so much. Whenever you ask him that why he don't call often, he used to say that he is so busy with his company, but he will surely come back to Wine soon. You were sitting in your room when your mom came, Mrs. Min smiling. "Vine, you know what? Today your dad's friend is coming for dinner and his son and daughter are also coming. And your dad and Mr. Kim, his friend, Both wants you and Mr. Kim's son to get married. You were taken aback. You don't know how to react. When your eyes turn teary and tears roll down your cheeks, you don't know what to do when Mrs. Min wiped your tears. Mrs. Min, shocked and worried. Wine, what happened, baby? Why are you crying? You looked at her and hugged her. Wine, Mom, I love someone. Mrs. Min got shocked and broke the hug. Wine, Mom, he is working so hard and day and night just to be successful so that he can marry me and ask for your permission. Please, I don't want to marry someone else. Mrs. Min tensed and shocked. Alright, where is he? I want to meet him. Wine, Mom, he is in South Korea. He is not here. Mrs. Min, when he went there and when will he return? Wine looked at her. He went there 2 years ago and I don't know when he will come back out. But soon he will come back and I know, I trust him. Mrs. Min looked disappointed. 2 years? Wine, you know what? Long distance don't last. Who knows he is still single or committed there? Who knows if he is working there or having any girlfriend? You don't have any idea about him. Wine, Mom, please, I can't listen anything against him. Please, I know him. He is not like others. He is so loyal to me and I trust him. Mrs. Min held your hand. Wine, I have seen the world. And mark my words, long distance doesn't last because even if you both are loyal to each other, there are still so many distractions in this world around you, especially when you guys are young. There are so many girls and boys better than you guys, so we can't trust anybody blindly. You looked at her when her words hit you hard. You love JUNGKOOK, but your mom's words were now roaming in your mind. Mrs. Min comforting. Wine, dear, give a chance to Mr. Kim's son. You can at least meet him. What if you start liking him? What if he is better than your so-called boyfriend? Every person deserves a chance, right? You can at least give him a chance, please. She looked at you when you agreed to meet him, but you were clear that you only love JUNGKOOK. He is so loyal to you and you trust him so much. When you got ready for the dinner and went downstairs, Mr. Kim, Mrs. Kim, his son and daughter came and you greeted all of them politely. You looked at Mr. Kim's son. He was really attractive and handsome. He was just looking at you and admiring you when you all sat for dinner and started chatting. Mr. Kim smiled. Wine, you have really grown up. When I last time saw you, you were just 5 years old. Mr. Min smiled when tahehyung, Mr. Kim's son, looked at you. Mrs. Kim smiling. But she is really pretty. Everybody were smiling and chatting, but you were just looking down as you were just thinking about JUNGKOOK. Mrs. Min, Wine, take tahehyung with you and you both can chat a little. You nervously looked at tahehyung, who was looking at you with a smile. You both went outside in the garden when he started the chat. tahehyung, hi, myself Kim tahehyung. Nice to meet you. You looked at him and he was wearing a cute smile on his face. Wine smiled a little. Hi, myself Min Wine. Nice to meet you too. tahehyung, why are you looking so nervous? Wine, nervous? Me? No. I'm not. It's just we are meeting for the first time, that's why, I guess. tahehyung smiled. Oh, then I need to meet you daily to make you comfortable with me. You both talked a lot, even though you were nervous, but he was trying his best to make you comfortable with him. You felt that he is a good person, and after a few minutes you started talking to him more comfortably. He has a different vibe. Few minutes ago you were not willing to talk to him, but now you were talking so comfortably. tahehyung, so Miss Beautiful, let's start this relation from friendship. Alright, let's be friends. He extended his hand towards you for a handshake. When you smiled and accepted and did handshake. Wine. Yeah, let's be friends. You both smiled. You wanted to tell him about your feelings that you already love someone, but something stopped you, and you thought that if your dad got to know, he will kill you. When you both were walking back towards your parents, when you slipped on something and were about to fall when he caught you, but he also slipped and you both crashed down on the floor, and on that instant, accidentally your lips met. Your eyes widened, your heart started racing, and your body was over his body. When Lisa came and saw you both, her eyes widened and she smiled and turned her face quickly in another direction. Lisa cleared her throat. When you heard her, you quickly got up and apologized him multiple times and he just smiled. Taehyung awkwardly smiled. Yeah, it's okay, Wine. Taehyung, yeah, Lisu, what are you doing here? Lisa smiled. Oppa, mom dad is calling you both. But if you are busy then I can tell them. Wine awkwardly and shy. No, I mean, we are coming. You quickly left from there when your cheeks were all red and Taehyung looked at you and chuckled. Lisa teasingly smiling. Oh, Oppa, what was that, huh? Taehyung looked at her and raised an eyebrow. What? You're so small, so just don't think about all that. Lisa smiling. Yeah, but I know what a kiss means. Taehyung looked at her seriously but then chuckled and then both left and went towards their parents. When you both went to your parents, they looked at both of you with a smile. Mrs. Kim, Wine, do you like him? You looked at her surprising because you thought it's just a meet. Mrs. Min smiling, of course she do. She's just feeling shy. Mr. Kim, Taehyung, so what's your answer? Taehyung looked at you once and then smiled. Yeah, yes. You looked at him and then at your mom. Mrs. Min, congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Kim. Mr. Kim smiled. Congratulations to you too. And we will not force you to marry early. I mean, kids can take time to know each other and then we'll arrange the wedding. Mr. Min smiled and nodded. When they were about to leave, Taehyung looked at you with a warm smile and whispered in your ear, Taehyung, we will meet soon, Wine. He smiled and left. Your cheeks turned red when his breath brushed near your ears. But you were still in a hurry to contact JUNGKOOK and tell him everything about this. When you went in the room after they left, your mom came. Wine confused. Mom, what was all that? Huh? You told me just to meet him and now you fixed my marriage with him. You know right, I love JUNGKOOK. Mrs. Min. Wine, calm down dear. Firstly listen. They are so good people and wait. Tell me, did you like Taehyung? You looked at her and paused for a while. Wine. Yes, but not as a husband. He is a good person and we became really good friends. But this doesn't mean that I don't love JUNGKOOK. I still love him and I have always imagined him as my husband. So how can I marry someone else and betray him? Mrs. Min. Wine, try to understand. Okay, let's do one thing. Play along till JUNGKOOK don't return from South Korea, alright? Mrs. Min. But if he doesn't came before your marriage, or I should say before your engagement, then you will have to marry Taehyung. And if JUNGKOOK came, then you can go with him. If you want, you can talk to JUNGKOOK. But I am still warning you that these kind of relationships don't work and he must be cheating on you. But I am not gonna force you for something. But mark my words, if he didn't come, then you have to marry Taehyung. Wine. But mom, it's not fair. It would not be fair with Taehyung. His heart will break after knowing all this. Mr. Min. Then just marry Taehyung. He came inside in a serious mood. Mr. Min. I don't want to listen anything, Wine. You will marry Taehyung and that's final. I had always let you do whatever you want, but this will not be tolerated. You will marry Taehyung and I don't want any discussion about it. He said and left when mom looked at you. Mrs. Min cupped your face which was teary. Wine, I am with you and you can take some time and think. Even if you want, you can contact Jungkook and tell him everything. You hugged your mom and nodded. Fine. Alright, mom, and thank you so much for being here with me. You said while hugging, and she patted on your back. You quickly texted Jungkook after Mrs. Min left and even called him, but there was no reply. When you disappointedly laid down on the bed, hugged your pillow tightly, and buried your face in the pillow when a tear escaped. Vine POV. I don't know what to do. Why Jungkook is not replying? Why mom's words are roaming in my mind? I don't know how to contact him. I don't even have her sister's contact number. I trust you, Jungkook. I trust you so much, and I know you will come back soon. You will not betray me. I know you love me so much, and I also do. I will wait for your reply. I will wait for your call. While thinking all this, you slept. Next day, you woke up. You quickly went towards your laptop and saw if any message or mail have came from him or not. But unfortunately, there was nothing. Like this, days passed and you daily check whether he replied you or not, but unfortunately, there was no reply at all. Taehyung, on the other hand, started hanging out with you. You both were coming close day by day and you both became best friends. He take care of you, he always made you laugh, and whenever you tried to be serious, he cracked a joke which used to be so funny that you both laugh a lot on it. You really enjoy his company. One day you went back home and as usual you checked your laptop. When you saw an unknown number, you quickly checked it and saw something which shattered your heart. Tear escaped from your eyes. Vine POV. As I opened the laptop, my heart pounded with anticipation, a mix of excitement and nervousness coursing through me. But as the screen flickered to life, the sight that greeted me shattered my world into million fragments. My eyes widened in shock, and a gasp escaped my lips as tears welled up and streamed down my cheeks, blurring my vision. There displayed before me was a picture of Jungkook with another girl in his arms. It felt as though someone had plunged a dagger straight into my heart, the pain sharp and unbearable. How could this be? I trusted Jungkook with every fiber of my being, believing in the sincerity of his love, yet the image before me shattered that trust into irreparable pieces, leaving me feeling utterly lost and betrayed. Every moment we shared, every promise we made, now feel like nothing but a cruel facade. The realization of his betrayal weighed heavily on my chest, making it difficult to breathe. Tears continued to blur my vision. I couldn't help but wonder how long this deception had been going on. Had he been leading a double life while I remained blissful, unaware? The questions swirled in my mind, each one adding to the anguish of my shattered heart. When mom entered and saw me sitting on the floor, laptop in my hand and crying like crazy, she quickly ran towards me and hugged me. I was literally feeling physical pain in my chest. It was something I never expected when mom broke the hug and wiped my tears. She then turned her gaze towards laptop and saw the image. Mrs. Min worried. Yeah dear, please stop crying. I already told you all this, right? I was still crying, but she held my shoulders and made me look at her. Mrs. Min, why? Relax and calm down first. I know this is also tough for you, but you are lucky, baby, because you got to know about the truth and him so early. So now don't cry over someone who don't appreciate your presence in his life. He is enjoying and you are crying. It's not fair. Vine started crying. Mom, why did this happen? Was I not enough for him? What is lacking in me? Tell me why. I started crying hard. Mom looked at me and she knew that I needed some time alone, so she left me alone. I cried whole night thinking, how can my Jungkook do this? It was very hard for me to accept this. Next day, I didn't eat the breakfast. When mom called me, I refused to go anywhere. I had an important meeting and I told to postpone it because right now I was not in a good condition to attend any important meeting. When dad got to know, he stormed towards my room and started knocking door hard. Mr. Min triggered. Wine, open the door. Wine. Mrs. Min ran towards Mr. Min and tried to stop him. Mrs. Min, yeah, honey, calm down. Mr. Min angry. How can she postpone the meeting? This meeting is so important and Kims are also coming. How can she be so careless? Mrs. Min, actually, she is not feeling well. Just then you opened the door. Your face was all red from crying and eyes were swelled. Mr. Min looked at you but spoke. Why? I know you are not fine, but it doesn't mean you can postpone your work, especially such an important meeting. You need to attend it, and then if you want, you can take leave for a day. You looked at him with blank expressions when Mrs. Min was looking at you worriedly. Wine. You said that and closed the door. Mr. Min went from there and Mrs. Min too. You got ready for the meeting and went to office. On the other hand, Taehyung's POV. I am going for the meeting and Wine will also be there. I don't know, but whenever I look at her, my all stress and worries fly away. I don't know what she feels about me, but I really started liking her and am falling for her daily. Whenever she look at me, my heart skips the beat. It feels like my life has become better since I met her. She is the first person I think about when I woke up and the last person before going to sleep. I always feel excited to meet her. I will wait for you, Wine. I know one day you will also love me and I will wait for that day. When you went to office with a blank face, you greeted everyone with a blank face and Taehyung noticed it. You started the meeting and did eye contact with Taehyung or anybody. You were most of the time looking at the laptop or the smartboard. Taehyung's POV. Wine is not looking well today. She is very cheerful girl, but today her face is looking pale. Is she fine? She didn't even look at me. I guess something is wrong. I will ask her after the meeting. As the meeting ended, everybody felt happy and signed the business deal. Mr. Min was so happy and looked at you when you just excused yourself and went from there with blank face. Taehyung was about to follow you when Mr. Kim stopped him and started talking about the business stuff. He quickly answered everything which his father was asking him and went from there as he really wanted to meet you so that he can talk to you. But when he ran towards outside, you already left. He was worried for you when he went to your home. Mrs. Min looked at him and got so happy to see him. She welcomed him warmly when Taehyung asked about you. Mrs. Min, she is in her room. Wait, let me go and call her. He nodded. When Mrs. Min went to your room, you were laying on the bed and your and JUNGKOOK's picture were scattered all around the room. Mrs. Min, Wine, dear Taehyung came. He wants to meet you. Wine, I don't want to meet anybody right now, Mom. Mrs. Min, Wine, I know you are depressed, but this is sign of universe that you should move on with Taehyung. Wine, Mom, please leave me alone for some time. I don't want to meet him. Mrs. Min, but in all this, what is his fault? He just came to meet his fiancée. Wine sighed. Mom, tell him that I am not feeling good and we will meet tomorrow. Until then, let me clear my mind. Please try to understand. Mrs. Min looked at you and left downstairs. Mrs. Min, Taehyung's son, she was sleeping. She was actually not feeling good. Taehyung looked at her and nodded. Mrs. Min sat near him and held his hand. Mrs. Min, son, you are really good human and we really feel blessed to have you for our daughter. Taehyung smiled. She told you that she don't want to meet me, right? Mrs. Min looked at him surprised. Mrs. Bin, no, it's not like that. Taehyung smiled. I know. It's been almost 1 month since we met and I got to know her. Mrs. Min, it's not like this, son. Actually, the thing is, she was not feeling well yesterday night, so today she told her secretary to postpone the meeting. But when her dad got to know, he got triggered and told her that she can't postpone it. She needs to attend it, and that's why she attended the meeting now and she went to the room to take rest. And yes, she was awake. She told me that she will meet you tomorrow. Taeyong looked at Mrs. Min and smiled and nodded. Taeyong, Mom? Mrs. Min looked at him with a smile. Taeyong, she don't love me, right? Mrs. Min surprised. What are you saying? And why are you thinking all this, huh? Taeyong said while looking towards the ceiling. I know, I can sense it. I don't know why I always feel insecure that she will go away from me. Mrs. Min hit his arm lightly. Hey, stop thinking all this, idiot. She loves you, and even if she don't, she will soon start loving you. After all, you are so handsome. They both chuckled. Taeyong, we are just best friends, Mom. Mrs. Min, love starts with friendship, idiot. Don't overthink. She is yours, and soon you will get engaged and then married. Taeyong, I really hope she gets what she deserves. She is so kind and adorable. She really deserves all the happiness. Mrs. Min looked at him and smiled when Taeyong excused and left from there. Mrs. Min thinking, Wine really deserved Taeyong. It is nearly impossible to find a better man for Wine than Taeyong. We did everything right. Wine POV. Jungkook did wrong. It's hard to accept this, but he betrayed me. And Mom is right. There is not Taehyung's fault. So why am I ignoring him? If Jungkook is cheating on me, then I can at least try to move on. I'm still depressed of what he did to me. Like, I trusted him, but I guess he don't deserve my trust. Alright, I will move on. I know it's gonna be super hard for me, but what Jungkook did was unfair. Mom was right. I can't just cry over him. He is enjoying his life, so why can't I? Next day, you went to Taeyong and he came towards you and you shook your hands and you greeted him with a smile. Wine. I'm sorry, V. I was not feeling well yesterday. That's why I couldn't meet you. Whenever I'm sick or something like that, I usually get so irritated so fast. And I don't wanted you to see me like that. I'm sorry. Taeyong smiled and held your hand. It's okay. And how are you now? Wine smiled. I am fine now. And guess what? I have something. Taeyong looked at you with excitement. Taeyong, and what's that? Wine showed him tickets of amusement park excitedly. Ta-da! His smile widened and you both held each other's hand and started jumping in excitement. Taeyong smiling. Wow, Wine, when you booked it? Wine, when you told me that you like to go to amusement park on that day when I went home, I quickly booked 2 tickets. So now we will go together. Taeyong, wow, you are really smart, huh? Wine flicked her hairs. Yeah, I am. Any doubts? Taeyong smiling. No, my lady. Wine, good. So we will meet at 5 p.m. Alright? Taeyong, alright, miss, and I will come to pick you up. You smiled and nodded. Wine, bye bye, tiger. You said while waving your hand and smiled and went to office. Taeyong thinking, she remembered that I liked amusement park? I guess Mom was right. He smiled. You were trying your best to move on, and the good thing was whenever you were with Taeyong, you forget about every stress and depression. You feel so good with him, but deep down you still miss Jungkook. But you have decided and were trying your best to not to think about him and focus on your relation with Taeyong. At 5 p.m., he came to pick you up and you both went to amusement park. You ate ice cream, cotton candy. You enjoyed all the rides there and had so much fun together. It was like you both became kids for a while and were enjoying like there was no tomorrow. Taehyung POV. She was laughing, chatting, and smiling and enjoying with me. She looks more beautiful when she smiles. I was feeling like I have everything in the world when I am with her. It's like I don't need anything else if she is with me. Taehyung. It was so fun, man. This was the best day of my life. Wine smiled. Yeah, really? Are you sure? Taehyung. Yeah, of course. Wine. Think once again. You will not be allowed to change the statement. Taehyung looked at you confused when you held his hand. Wine looked in his eyes. We? He looked at you. Wine took a deep breath before speaking. Will you marry me? Taehyung looked at you shocked because he didn't expected this from you so early. He didn't said anything and was looking at you like he saw a ghost. Wine raised an eyebrow. Hey, why are you looking like you saw a ghost? I know due to rides my hair's got messy, but that doesn't mean I'm a ghost. Taehyung chuckled. Taehyung, it's not like that. It was just unexpected. Wine, really? But you didn't reply. Taehyung smiled. Will you ask again? It felt so good. You chuckled. Wine held his hand tightly and looked in his eyes. We? Honey, will you marry me? Taehyung looked in her eyes. Yes, I will. You both smiled and you got up. Wine, alright. Now let's go and talk to our parents. Firstly, we will get engaged. Taehyung nodded, but when you were about to walk, he held your hand, pulled you towards him when your head hit his chest. Taehyung, do you love me, Wine? You looked at him, don't know what to say. Wine, what kind of question is this? I mean, we are best friends, right? And Taehyung, and you're gonna marry your best friend? Wine, it's not like that. I like you, V, and maybe someday I will love you. I don't wanna lie, but we are best friends, and for me, love is friendship. Love starts with friendship. Taehyung looked at you and smiled. Taehyung, alright, then I will wait for that day when you will fall in love with me. Wine smiled and you both went back home. You both went home when you both told your parents that you have decided to get engaged. Everybody was so happy and they immediately agreed. Mrs. Min was so happy that finally you are trying to move on with Taehyung. Days passed and days of your engagement came. Your and his parents invited all the businessmen and investors in your engagement. Taehyung was so happy that finally he is gonna get engaged with you. Where you were happy but something was missing. You were telling yourself that everything is fine and I am going everything right. And after the engagement, you will tell about Jungkook to Taehyung because you don't want to hide anything from him. But still something from inside was stopping you to do this. But you were continuously telling yourself that I am doing right. On the other hand, Jungkook returned back to US as he was also invited to this engagement. Kims invited him as he was one of their investors. Wine POV. As the engagement ceremony commenced, I made my way towards the stage, nerves tingling with excitement. Suddenly I felt Taehyung's gaze on me and my heart skipped a beat. His admiration was palpable as our eyes met and I blushed under his intense gaze. To my surprise, Taehyung rushed towards me, his smile lighting up the room. He gently took my hand in his, sending a surge of warmth through me. In that moment, amidst the whirlwind of emotions, his touch anchored me, reassuring me of the love and joy that awaited us. Taehyung looked at me. Wine, you're looking gorgeous, really gorgeous. You looked at him and blushed when he picked you in his arms and went towards the stage. Your eyes widened at first, but then chuckled. You both went towards the stage. Everybody cheered for both of you when you both looked at each other fondly and you both held the rings. Taehyung held your hand and put the ring in your hand. He looked at you and smiled. You were also about to put the ring in his hand when suddenly your attention went in the crowd and your eyes widened. You saw Jungkook staring at you. He was sitting at the bar counter. He tightened his grip on the glass and it broke. His hand started bleeding. When everybody was cheering for you to put the ring in his hand, you suddenly started shaking. Your hands started trembling after you saw Jungkook. It was really unexpected when rings fell down from your hand, which you were going to put in Taehyung's hand. Taehyung looked at you and quickly picked the ring. He looked at you when you were shaking. Taehyung saw you panicking, so he held you by your shoulders and you looked at him. Taehyung, Vine, are you fine? You looked at him and nodded. You were feeling mixture of emotions. You felt the pain by seeing his hand bleeding, but you were angry too for cheating on you. You saw him after 2 years and feeling to hug him tightly, but then you looked at Taehyung who was standing there looking at you concerned. You can't break his heart. So you held the ring and put in his hand. Everybody clapped, and when you looked at Jungkook, a tear escaped from his eyes and he went from there. You don't know why it was bothering you now. You were trying your best to move on from him, but still something was stopping you. You were breathing heavily when Taehyung asked you. Taehyung, Vine, you don't seem alright. What happened? Vine, I actually am not feeling well. I don't know why. Taehyung looked at you, concerned, when Mrs. Min came and she told you to take rest in your room for a while. Mrs. Min, I guess it's due to tiredness. Vine, go to your room and if you need anything then tell me. Go and take rest for a while. You went from there when Taehyung was concerned about you, but Mr. Kim called him and he went to meet his investors and other guests. You went to your room and locked it and started crying. Your heart was feeling so heavy with emotions. You don't know what to do. You were panicking as you were so in love with Jungkook, but trying to hide and ignore those feelings as you were trying to move on. But now suddenly he came and you don't know what to do. Why in POV? Why he came back? Can't he see me living peacefully? Firstly he broke me and now if I am trying to move on, then he came back. Already it's being so tough for me to move on. I hate you, Jungkook. No, I hate myself. I hate myself for trusting you. You started crying so hard. You don't know what is all this happening with you. When you got up and threw all your and Jungkook's picture here and there, you sat down on the floor while crying and covering your face with your hand. You were trembling. You were feeling difficult to breathe and was panicking. You were breathing heavily when suddenly while crying you collapsed. Taehyung came to check you and to see if you are fine as he was so worried for you. When he knocked your door, you didn't answer. He knocked multiple times but your room was locked. He got worried and pushed your door multiple times to break it. When Mrs. Min came, Taehyung told her that you are not replying, so she got worried and quickly went to take a key. Taehyung quickly opened the room and saw you laying on the floor unconscious, and your and Jungkook's pictures were scattered here and there. He looked around but quickly picked you up and rushed downstairs. Mrs. Min was also so worried and ran behind him downstairs. When everybody saw Taehyung and you, they got worried when Mr. and Mrs. Kim and Mr. Min also rushed behind him. He took you to the hospital, panicking and worried. When doctors checked you, Taehyung was all sweating and worried. His eyes became numb, his heart racing. When Mr. Kim tried to calm him down, doctor came. Doctor, she is fine. It was just she got panic attack. Was she stressed or depressed about something, or something unexpected happened that she panicked? Everybody looked at each other when Taehyung realized that she started panicking on stage when it was the time to exchange the rings. Doctor, by the way, she is unconscious right now, but when she will come to her senses, you can take her home. Everybody nodded when Jungkook was standing behind Mr. Kim and listening. Taehyung noticed him and looked at him. Mr. Kim, Mr. John? Everybody looked at him when Mrs. Min got shocked. Jungkook, I just came here because one of my friend got into accident. So I came here from the party and after meeting him I was about to leave when I saw you all here. So I just came to ask, is everything okay? Mr. Kim, oh yeah, it's just Wine got unwell and fainted. So, but she is fine now. Jungkook nodded and looked at Taehyung. Jungkook, that's good if she is fine. I guess I should leave. Just then nurse came and said that you are awake and now everyone can meet you. When Taehyung and everybody rushed inside, whereas Jungkook just stood there and saw you from distance. When his eyes got numb and he went from there, he lied about his friend as he just came to see Wine. In the hospital room, Taehyung held your hand and looked at you concerned. Taehyung, how are you feeling now, Wine? You looked at him and managed a smile. Wine, I'm fine now. You looked around and saw everyone concerned. Wine, I'm sorry for disturbing you all. Mrs. Kim, yeah, don't say like that, Wine. We are your family, she said with a smile when nurse came. Nurse, actually, can you all leave the patient for a while? We need to check her and give medicine. Everybody nodded and went outside. When Taehyung was holding your hand and looking at you, you looked at him and then he left without saying anything. Mrs. Min, I guess you all should go back and I am here and I'll come with Wine as she will be discharged soon. Everybody nodded and left from there. But Taehyung was just sitting outside the room silently. So many questions were roaming in his mind when Mrs. Min sat near him. Mrs. Min, Taehyung, son, I know you're worried but she is fine and if you want you can also go back. He didn't look at her and stayed silent when Mrs. Min looked at him. Taehyung serious. What are you hiding from me, Mom? Mrs. Min looked at him. Taehyung, Wine loves Jungkook, right? Why you kept me in dark? He looked at Mrs. Min, his eyes looking for answers. When Mrs. Min knew that she had to say the truth as Taehyung saw the pictures of Wine and Jungkook. But still in all this, she tried her best to protect your and Taehyung's relation. Mrs. Min took a deep breath before speaking. Actually, Jungkook and Wine loved each other, but after college, he went back to Korea saying that he will be successful and then he will marry her. And my innocent Wine kept waiting for him, but one day she saw his picture with another girl in his arms. She got so depressed. It was the day when you came home and I told you that she is not well. But I was happy when she told me that she is doing engagement, that finally she is moving on. But now I don't know why he came back. And Wine, she maybe got panicked attack because of him. Taehyung looked at her wide eyes that why everyone hide this from him, and then doctor came. Mrs. Min took Wine back to home. Taehyung went back home. Taehyung's POV. What was all that? It's okay if she had a relationship in past, but today she got so affected by his presence. Maybe because she still loves him. Maybe she is trying to move on, but maybe she can't. And why she hide this from me? I should talk to her. But I guess I should not bother her as she got so panicked after seeing, so I don't think she will like to talk about her past. I should give her time. You went back home. When you saw your room and realized that you threw all the pictures here and there, you quickly took all the pictures and were about to burn them, but something stopped you and you put all of them in the drawer. Wine POV. I guess I need to talk to Taehyung. I can't just hide all this from him. And he deserves to know about my past, whereas I should ignore Jungkook and I don't even need to meet him. He is a cheater. Even if I guess some feelings are left in me for Jungkook, I will try my best to not to express them and be loyal to Taehyung. You sat on the bed and calmed yourself down. Next day, you called Taehyung and told him to meet you. Taehyung was waiting for you when you came and greeted each other. Taehyung, how are you now, Wine? Wine smiled. Better now. He looked at you and nodded with a smile. Wine, I want to tell you something. He looked at you. Wine, It's actually related to my past, and I know I should have told you about this early, but I don't know, something was stopping me. So I decided to tell you about this after engagement. You told him everything, that how you and Jungkook met, how he promised you to come back and marry you, how he cheated on you, and that you saw him yesterday in the engagement party and due to which you got panicked. You also told him that your parents firstly forced you to marry him, but at first meeting he became your so good best friend and you liked to hang out with him. You told him that maybe you haven't properly moved on, but you are trying your best and that you will never go back to a cheater who cheated on you and broke your heart. Taehyung thinking, she told me everything honestly. How should I react now? It's really heartbreaking for her, and I know how she must have felt and why she didn't told me about all this. Taehyung, do you really want to marry me? I mean, please don't take me wrong. I just mean that are you really ready to move on? You looked at him and stopped for a while. Vine, yes, I'm ready. Taehyung in mind. You still loves him, Vine. I can easily sense it. Taehyung, it's good then, but I guess you should talk to him once if you feel okay and confront everything. It can maybe some misunderstanding. Vine, I don't want to meet him and I know it's not a misunderstanding. And why are you saying all that? Don't you want to be with me? You pouted when he chuckled and hugged you. When suddenly it started raining so hard. Taehyung, I want to see you happy, and if possible, I want to see you happy with me. Vine, everything is possible. You broke the hug. Taehyung, let's go, it's raining so heavily. Vine, no, wait, let's stay here and enjoy the rain. Taehyung, but you will get sick, Vine. Vine, no problem, and I love rain. If you want, you can go, and I'll be here. You pouted. Taehyung, how can I leave my best friend alone? You both started walking. When you realized that you and Jungkook both loved rain, you used to dance together and do so much fun. It was so romantic, but soon you shook your thoughts away. Jungkook saw you hugging Taehyung and tear escaped from his eyes as his heart broke. Jungkook POV, I came here to meet you, Vine, as I wanted to know why you dumped me. Why are you marrying someone else without even talking to me about all this? I thought that maybe your parents are forcing you for this, but I guess you yourself are so happy with him. What I did wrong that you broke me so deeply? Why, Vine? I worked day and night for you, but you. He went home and sat on the bed. When tears streamed down, his sister came and saw him. Stella, hey Jungkook, what happened? Jungkook, nothing. Just leave me alone. Stella sat near him. Stella, no, tell me, look at me. I never saw you crying. What happened? Jungkook, why she got engaged. Stella looked at him and paused for a second. Stella, you are crying over her? She is a cheater. Haven't you seen her picture? I told you. Jungkook went silent for a while. Jungkook, Nuna, leave me alone for a while, please. She sighed and went from there. Stella thinking, I don't know why still he loves her. She cheated on him and this fool is crying over her, idiot. Next day, Jungkook decides to confront Ryan once and ask all the questions roaming in his mind. You went to your office when Jungkook also came to your office. Your dad saw him and got happy as he don't know that he is the one whom you loved. Your dad wanted him to invest in your company and build good relations. So Jungkook said that he will talk to Ryan about that. Mr. Min agreed and sent him to your cabin. You were sitting peacefully and doing your work when you saw Jungkook walking inside your office. Your heart skipped a beat and you got so surprised to see him. Vine, what are you doing here? He sat on the chair. Jungkook, just wanted some answers. You both looked at each other. Vine, I don't owe you an explanation. I am very busy right now and don't want to talk to a cheater. Jungkook looked at you confused. Jungkook, cheater? Really, Vine? You are the one who is marrying someone else without even talking to me, without even doing breakup with your boyfriend. You are the one who kissed someone else in absence of your boyfriend and you are saying that I am a cheater? Vine glared at him. Really? You betrayed me. You cheated on me with some other girl. Any other girl was in your arms, and did you talk to me? You are the one who cheated. I always thought that you will come back. You didn't pick my calls. You didn't answer my text. I tried to call you thousands of times, but you never replied. Wine. I even told my mom that I love you. When she came to me to tell me about tahehyung and this marriage, I protested and begged them to give some time. I told them that my Jungkook will come back. I trust him. She even told me that long distance don't work. And you know what? I told her that not all boys are same. My Jungkook is different. He is so loyal to me. Mom, I trust him. But when someone sent me your pic with some other girl, I was so shocked and depressed. You said all this in one go, and you started crying while saying all this. Tears flowed from your eyes, your heart heavy with pain. Jungkook looked at you and hugged you, but you soon broke the hug. Vine wiped her tears. Don't touch me with those hands. I am loyal to my fiancé. I am not like you. Your words pinched Jungkook deeply. Jungkook. Vine, I don't know about what picture you are talking about. You know what? I was working day and night to be successful and come back to you. When one day I was driving back home and got into an accident. When I reached hospital, I was in coma for 2 days. And when I woke up, my sister took care of me and told that my phone got stolen and I bought a new phone and SIM card. So I was about to text you and to tell you that I changed my number when my sister showed me your picture kissing tahehyung. I was taken aback. I was so heartbroken. I couldn't believe that it was you. Jungkook. When after 2 days my sister took me to the club as it was her birthday, I was just sitting in the corner and was drinking one after another. When I don't know when I fainted, and next day when I woke up, I was in my room. My sister told me that she brings me back. And then when I met Mr. Kim, we talked about business and he told me that his son is also getting married to Min's daughter. I asked about little detail, so he told me that the girl is Min Enterprise CEO. Jungkook. At that point, I got sure that it was you. When I went back here, I thought that maybe your parents are forcing you to do this marriage, so I should talk to you. But when I yesterday saw you and tahehyung happy, I thought that maybe really you like him. He also loves you. I saw the worry and love in his eyes when I met him in the hospital. You were shocked a little after knowing the truth, but you were still not sure that if he is saying the truth or not. Jungkook. But who sent you my pic and which pic you are talking about? You showed him the picture and he got shocked. Jungkook. I don't know who clicked this and I don't did anything. I don't even know who this girl is. Wait, who sent you this? Give me the number. When he looked at the number, he got shocked. Jungkook. It's Nuna's number. But why will she? You looked at him. Jungkook. I will talk to you later, Vine, and will come back to talk to you with all the proofs and truth. He said and left. Vine. But who sent mine and tahehyung's picture? I also need to find out. Jungkook went home and confronted his sister. Jungkook triggered. You were the one who sent my picture to Vine. Stella confused. Hey bro, calm down. Jungkook. I won't answer, Nuna. Stella sighed. Yes, I clicked it because when I saw your girlfriend kissing someone, I got so triggered that you love her so much. Daily you used to mention her in everything we talk, but she is cheating on you and I knew that you are so madly in love with her that you will never leave her even after what she did. So I thought to show her that she is not only the one who can get boys, you are also so handsome that you can get any girl you want and you don't need her. And your phone was also not stolen, it was with me. I never gave you so that she can never contact you. Jungkook looked at her confused and shocked like how can she do this? Jungkook. And just to teach her a lesson you made me close with any random girl? Stella. Hey, calm down. I just clicked your picture and told that girl to leave. You were with her just for a minute. Jungkook was now so frustrated and even hurt that because of his sister's silly plan, Vine have to suffer and she cried so much for him and even misunderstood him. On the other hand, Vine was thinking that who that person can be. Wine thinking. At that time, only me, Taehyung, Lisa, Mr. and Mrs. Kim, and mom and dad were there, so it must be someone from them. Taehyung can't be, as he was with me. Mom and dad and Mr. and Mrs. Kim were talking in the living room, so maybe they haven't did anything, and Lisa was with us as she saw us kissing. So can't it be Lisa? I don't know. I guess I should take someone's help. Taehyung was standing at the door and he listened Yor and Jungkook's conversation. He was feeling a bit insecure as he thought that Jungkook is innocent and maybe Wine will go back to him. But he decided to keep his feelings aside and think as her friend. Taehyung went back home and asked Lisa that is she the one who clicked her picture, but she denied, and Taehyung went to his parents and asked that did they came in garden when Taehyung and Wine were there. They both denied, but Mrs. Kim said that Mrs. Min went from there for a while. Taehyung thought for a while and went from there, but Mrs. Kim asked him why he is asking all this, but he said it's nothing. Taehyung called you. Wine. We? Hi. Taehyung. Wine. I guess you should talk to your mom once. Maybe she is the one who clicked our picture. Wine looked at him astonished. Wine. But wait, how you? Taehyung. I'm sorry, I was standing at the door so I heard your conversation with Jungkook that you want to find who was behind all this. So I went home and asked everyone, and my mom told me that your mom left from the living room for a while. Wine looked at him and thanked him and went to her mom. Wine. Mom? Mrs. Min. Wine, what happened? Wine. Will you tell me everything? Clearly, honestly? Mrs. Min looked at you and thought that maybe she got to know that she was the one who told Taehyung about your relationship. Mrs. Min. I'm sorry, Wine, but Taehyung asked me so I needed to tell him. He saw yours and Jungkook's picture in the room when he went to meet you. So I told him that you and Jungkook were in relationship but he cheated. You looked at her shocked because you don't know that Taehyung already know about it. Wine. Mom, I am talking about the picture you sent to Jungkook. Mrs. Min got more shocked. Mrs. Min. Wine, it's not like that. Wine. Mom, I said tell me the truth. Mrs. Min sighed. Alright. I don't want you to marry Jungkook as I thought that he must be cheating on you and he is not good for you. He doesn't match to our standards, Wine. And when I saw Taehyung, I knew that he is the best person. So kind-hearted and loving. If I haven't met him, so maybe I would agree you to marry Jungkook. But Taehyung is awesome and he loves you so much, Wine. And I was even afraid that you people are in long distance relationship. So who knows if he is cheating on you. I'm sorry but I don't regret anything because Taehyung is the best man you can ever have. You looked at her that how your mom do this with you and that also for such a silly reason. Wine tear escaped from her eyes. Mom, you were the reason for all my tears. You never thought about how was my condition when I found out that Jungkook cheated. I was so depressed and even had panic attacks. I cried all those nights and you never felt bad for me. Mrs. Min. Wine, he cheated on you and I love you. That's why I arranged your wedding with Taehyung. Jungkook just broke your heart. Wine crying and shouted. He doesn't broke my heart. You broke it, Mom. He didn't cheated on me. That picture was fake. But you ruined my life. You ruined our relationship. Standard my foot. You know what? I trusted you, but you sighed and wiped your tears. You know what? Just leave me. I don't think you will understand me. You went from there when Mrs. Min's eyes turned numb and Mr. Min came and held Mrs. Min. Mrs. Min, I just wanted her good. Mr. Min, I guess we should not have forced her. I was such a fool that I thought maybe she will be happy with an arranged marriage. You went outside in the garden when Jungkook also came. Jungkook. Wine. Jungkook, what are you doing here? Jungkook, I wanted you to tell the truth. He told everything about Stella. Wine told everything about Mrs. Min. You both looked at each other as you knew that you both still loves each other, but now the situation is different. Jungkook, Vine, I'm sorry for everything you have to gone through. Vine, I'm sorry too. You both looked deep into each other's eyes. There were so many feelings for each other, but no words can describe them. Jungkook, is there any chance that we can be together? You looked at him and then looked away. Vine, I don't think so, Jungkook. Jungkook, why don't you love me? Vine, I do. Yeah, I do, but I'm engaged to Taehyung and I never want him to be heartbroken. I don't want to hurt him. Jungkook, will you be happy with him? Vine looked at him and then looked around. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He is so good person and he will never let me sad. And I'll try to be happy with him. Jungkook looked at you. I guess I came really late. I lost something precious. I lost something to whom my heart belongs. I'm sorry, Vine. I couldn't fulfill my promise to make you my bride. He said with a faint smile and tears in his eyes. His smile was hiding so many emotions and sadness and regret of losing you. Jungkook, Vine, Jungkook, will you have married me if Taehyung was not engaged with you? Vine looked at him. Who knows? Jungkook nodded and tried to smile and hide his tears. Jungkook, alright then, I guess I should leave. And congratulations for your engagement. And I really hope you will stay happy with him. He smiled and went from there. You saw his disappearing figure. Your heart was heavy and you were somehow controlling your tears in front of him, and your tear escaped from your cheeks. You burst into tears and Taehyung was standing behind as he came to see if Mrs. Min was the one who clicked their picture. Vine wiped her tears and went inside as she didn't notice Taehyung. Taehyung went to her room when Lucy came. Lucy, Oppa, Mom, Dad are calling you both. Taehyung, but I wanted to talk to Vine. Vine, let's go downstairs and then we'll talk, okay? He nodded and you all went downstairs. Mrs. Kim, alright everyone, I just wanted to tell that I talked to the priest for finalizing the wedding date and he said that tomorrow is a very lucky day to do so. So I thought to arrange it tomorrow. What do you think? Mr. and Mrs. Min looked at each other and then at Vine. Taehyung looked at you. Vine, yeah, it's good. Everybody looked at you when Taehyung looked at you shocked. Taehyung whispered, are you sure, Vine? You nodded and everybody congratulated each other for finalizing the wedding date and they got so busy in preparation. Taehyung, I actually want this wedding to be simple and I guess it would be best if only our families are there. I don't want any business partners or any guests. Let's keep it simple. Mr. Kim, why? It's Kim's son's wedding. How can it be simple? Taehyung, please dad, you can do grand wedding when it's your time. Everybody laughed at his joke. You agreed to this because you wanted to get rid all of the confusion in your mind, as you wanted to be loyal to Taehyung, but your attention and love was on Jungkook. So you thought that if your wedding will be done, then you can only focus on one person. As the wedding preparation progressed, you found yourself caught in the whirlwind of emotions. Despite your efforts to move on, your heart still held a place for Jungkook. You wrestled with conflicting feelings, torn between your lingering love for him and your commitment to Taehyung. Each minute brought new challenge as you tried to suppress your feelings and you focused on your upcoming marriage. Amidst the chaos, you reminded yourself of the love and support Taehyung had shown you. Determined to honor your commitment to him as the wedding day approached, you braced yourself for the inevitable confrontation with Jungkook and the difficult decision that lay ahead. Your dress. As you went towards the easel, you saw Taehyung standing there smiling, your heart beating fast. You don't know what you are doing is right or wrong. When you reached to the easel, as your dad was going to give your hand in his hand, Jungkook entered and went straight to easel, standing next to you. You looked at him, shocked, and a tear escaped from your eyes. Taehyung held your dad's hand, in which he was holding your hand, and gave it to Jungkook. You looked at Taehyung surprised, don't know what's going on. Vine confused. What's going on? Taehyung smiling. I'm just stopping myself to commit sin. You looked at him confused. Taehyung, I was separating two individuals who loved each other. I was being a bone in a meat, so I thought not to do so and let my best friend live a beautiful life with her love. I know even if I tried to make you happy, you would not be much happy as your heart belongs to him. He will keep you happy and I know. You looked at Jungkook and then at Taehyung with teary eyes and hugged Taehyung. Vine, I'm sorry I hurted you. He broke the hug. Taehyung, no you didn't Vine. Yeah, I liked you but he loves you the most and I always wanted you to be happy either with me or Jungkook. You can ask your mom. She knows. You looked at her when she was looking at you smiling with numb eyes. Taehyung, and forgive her Vine. She just wanted your happiness. She loves you. He smiled. Jungkook smiled. Thanks bro. You really have a big heart. And I really hope that you will get someone who will love you truly as much as you deserve. Taehyung smiled. Acha alright guys, now let's do for the ceremony. Wedding proceeded and you were feeling sad for V, but now you were so happy you both were smiling like crazy. Priest, you may kiss each other. Jungkook held your waist, pulled you towards him and kissed you. Vine, we are finally married Jungkook. You smiled. Jungkook, I have dreamt of this from so long and finally this happened. Am I dreaming or it is reality? You pinched him hard. Jungkook, ouch. Vine, now you're sure that it is reality. Jungkook nodded with smile. Taehyung POV. It's a bit hurting to see her with someone else, but I'm really happy that she is happy. And if she is happy, then I am also happy. And yeah, Kim Taehyung, you will also get a wonderful girl who will love you as much as I deserve. He smiled. Mr. Kim. Taehyung, if it was your plan, then why you told that you don't want to invite guests? Taehyung, because then you would have said that you felt embarrassed in front of others. He smiled. Mrs. Kim, we are happy if everyone is happy. After marrying Vine, Jungkook felt like he was living in a dream, holding her in his arms. He couldn't believe how lucky he was to have her by his side. Every moment spent with her felt like a precious gift, and he cherished every second they shared together. Their life together was filled with love, laughter, and countless memories. Despite the challenge they faced together, Jungkook knew that as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything. He found solace in Vine's presence, knowing that she was his rock and his constant source of strength. Their days were spent building a life together, making plans for the future, and creating a home filled with warmth and happiness. Jungkook couldn't imagine his life without Vine, and he thanked his lucky stars every day for bringing her into his life. As they navigated the ups and downs of married life, Jungkook felt a sense of completeness he had never experienced before. With Vine by his side, he knew that he had found his forever partner, and he was determined to cherish and protect their love for all eternity. After 2 years of focusing on his career and personal growth, Taehyung found himself drawn to someone new, someone who brought light and joy into his life. They shared a deep connection built on understanding, respect, and mutual admiration, and decided to get married. In a beautiful ceremony filled with love and laughter, Taehyung exchanged vows with his beloved wife, surrounded by their closest friends and family. As they embarked on their new chapter together, Taehyung felt a sense of contentment and fulfillment, knowing that he had found his soulmate. Jungkook smiling. Congratulations, dude. Taehyung smiled. Thanks, bro. Vine. Finally, my best friend got his true love. I'm really happy for you, V. Congratulations, you said with a smile. Jungkook. Yeah, dude. Today, if I asked you that are you happy that 2 years back I married Vine instead of you? He said while smiling. Taehyung chuckled. Yeah, bro, I'm really grateful that you both got married. Because if I would have married Vine on that day, how will I meet her? My wife. And in that marriage, Vine and you both will not be truly happy. So I am really happy that I didn't marry Vine and you both are happy together, and so I am. I found the love of my life who really loves me truly. He said with a wide smile. Vine POV. I'm really happy that finally my best friend got the love he deserved. He is looking so happy today, and by seeing him happy, I am also so happy. He really has a heart of gold and he truly deserves to be loved. When I married Jungkook, we both were so happy together, but somewhere I always felt bad that I unintentionally hurted Taehyung. But now I am finally relieved and happy that he is really happy, and this is really a best day. I am truly happy with my love Jungkook, and Taehyung is also happy with his wife. I truly want them to be always happy. Loving someone is easy, but waiting for someone with your full honesty and loyalty is tough. And if someone do so, he is the one who deserves your love. If you really love that person, then learn to wait. Maybe you are not meant to be together today, but meant to be in future. I hope you like this series. Do tell me in the comments how you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you liked it, and share it with your friends. And you can suggest me some topics for one shots too.